right, welcome to hour 2 of the Charlie Kirk Show. We have election day across the country. By the way, there's a race going on in Mesa, and Blake's going to give us a brief on that in just a second. But first, I want to welcome in Rich Barris, Big Data Poll, the People's Pundit. Rich, thanks for racing back. I know you were out and about, and you hustled back to make it for the show, so thank you, my friend. We also got Jack Posobiec, Human Events Daily host here, and let's do a 4-up here. Rich, I want to know, break down for us what you're seeing out there. What's going to decide these different races in VA, New Jersey, obviously the judges in Pennsylvania, and New York City?
So New Jersey is the one, I'll be just flat out, is the one that I'm most interested, because I really do feel like the environment in New Jersey and the state's tradition, it's this historical tradition of not wanting to elect 3 terms for the same party does matter. I lived there for years. I know it. People talk about it. It's a thing. All right. So that is the race that I'm most interested in. And interestingly enough, we do get partisan data from counties as the day goes on. So, of course, I'm looking at Monmouth, I'm looking at Ocean, and a ton of other places to see if Republican turnout is going to be sufficient. Also, Jack Citarelli is winning independents by a pretty decent margin. The independent turnout today is going to make a big difference. So in the early vote, it was not as high as Republicans would have liked to see it, but we'll see what happens on Election Day.
Yeah, we're getting reports from Cliff Maloney that the turnout is good, not great. Yeah. So this thing really could come down to the wire here, Rich. So listen, we've seen. I want to pivot really quickly to Jay Jones, the AG race in Virginia. That is a race that looks winnable, but it looks like Winsome Sears is falling behind, which could implicate down ballot races. What are you seeing?
So we have been polling this for a private project that we're doing. We've been tracking it since it's like 11 days now, Andrew. And it looked like Mayoris had a sizable lead to the point where I was ready to just tell people this race is over. But what happened is that Winsome Sears did fall behind. And the more she fell behind, the more Spanberger was pulling others up. Even the lieutenant governor's race, by the way, Reed didn't have a whole lot of money, but he traveled the state, ran a retail campaign, a very accessible campaign. The media got to ask him any question he wanted. He would sit for hours and talk to voters in these forums. And the race was fairly tight when we started to poll it. It was a lot of undecideds, but it was fairly tight. As Sears began to lag, it did start to hurt the other candidates. And I can actually tell you, it's basically a tied race for Attorney General right now. So I think, and this is connected to some of the other work we've been doing, I think for a while, Democrats were just unwilling to tell the pollster that they were going to vote for Jones regardless. And that doesn't surprise me, given some of the work we've done, what we've been hearing from Democrats lately. That doesn't really surprise me, Andrew. I know that that's a sad commentary on the state of our politics, but really what happened is about 10% of Democrats were unwilling to tell us they would vote for Jay Jones. And that was leading a lot of people to believe we may have a big undervote where they just don't cast a ballot for Attorney General. But I'm more leaning toward they're just going to vote for Jay Jones.
Well, and I want to bring in Blake for this as well, but you see these polls, right, Rich and Blake, where they basically say, "Oh, look at the Democrat approval rating is at historic lows, 26% approval rating, and all this stuff," and I'm like, it's not going to translate to an election.
I'm pretty sure Republicans won like their biggest House race ever in a year where they had incredibly low approval. It's sort of just a sport to hate your own party at this point.
Yeah, it's just like I hate the leadership of I don't like Chuck Schumer. Therefore, I'm going to vote or I'm going to tell a pollster that I'm upset with the Democrat Party. They'll still pull the trigger for, gosh, I got to get that out of my my lexicon here. They're still gonna drop the vote for Jay Jones for the AG race. They're still gonna go for the Democrat candidate, even though he's a socialist/communist in New York City. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, you are. And also too, I think some of these polls, I've been a critic of the polling industry for a while. I think they're just full of it. You have some of these polls out there like Quinnipiac and the CNN poll that came out. They are doing that on purpose. I think some of this is to sow complacency among the right. Are Democrats in a bad place with their brand? Yes, but you have two things, almost what we saw with Republicans, by the way, where Republicans used to be very unpopular. Much of it was coming from their own voters saying, look, I wish you did more of this. I wish you were more right wing. I wish you were more America first. It would never occurred to people that it may not impact their electoral viability. And here, I think we just did that as well. Favorability for both the parties. Republicans and Democrats are both underwater in our polling. Democrats much more so, but it wasn't because, voters were checked out on them. You know what I mean, guys? They'll still vote for them if they're the voters saying, I have an unfavorable opinion on the party because I want it to be more progressive, right? Or does that mean they're going to sit home, or does that mean they're going to vote for the Republican? Of course not. And it didn't mean that when Republicans exhibited the same behavior in polling either.
Awesome. Blake, why don't you tell us about Mesa? Rich, I don't know if you're watching this race.
I wanted to flag this because Charlie always cared a lot about the local Arizona races. He cared a lot about making Arizona as conservative as possible. So this is a local race, but one near and dear to his heart. So we have a council member in Mesa. That's the town right here. It's one of the biggest suburbs of Phoenix, Julie Spilsbury in District 2. And we are attempting to recall her. Julie Spilsbury is a Republican. Put many, many quotes around that.
Many quotes.
She endorsed Kamala Harris in last year's election.
Yes, she did.
Tyler could give you a whole longer list of horror stories about her, but that's the key thing. She's a Republican who endorsed Kamala, made herself a face of Republicans for Kamala, and she's representing a conservative part of the East Valley, a conservative part of the Phoenix area, so we want to recall her. Now, if you live in Mesa, you have to live in District 2, and if you have it, it is a mail-only election. You cannot go to the polls and vote in this. You have received a ballot in the mail. So if you live in that area, go check, see if there's some ballot you ignored, you put in your pile of other mail that you weren't paying attention to, grab it, you can fill it out and still drop it off today. You can't drop it in a mailbox. You have to, at this point, drive it directly to the polling center and then you can drop it off. But that is how you can vote. We want to recall Spilsbury. You want to be putting Doreen Taylor in instead.
Yep,
that is important to emphasize.
So yeah, and the little backstory on that election, Rich, that was a complete grassroots bottom-up thing. I mean, it was a grassroots activist that filed the recall petition, got it across the finish line. Of course, Turning Point Action is going to be helping in any way we can because the grassroots is completely revolting against a Republican for Kamala. Also, this same Republican, Spilsbury, has basically endorsed some of the transgender craziness within the city. So we're keeping a lookout on that as well. Rich, I want to take our eyes over to California. Prop 50. It's going to pass, isn't it?
Overwhelmingly. It's going to pass. And
depressing.
I always shoot straight here, guys, right? I mean, I always tell it straight. I'm struggling the same way you are, Andrew, honestly. But I always tell it how it is. I'm looking around at some of those returns in California. Look at a county like Stanislaus. I mean, I think it bothers me so much because you really start to feel like you're beating a dead horse election cycle after election cycle after election cycle, and people don't listen. And that is a district, that's a county that's in a district, California 13. It was represented by John Duarte. He trailed Donald Trump badly because this is a Central Valley, heavily Hispanic, working class area. Donald Trump carried the district. John Duarte lost. And now Republicans, their returns in Merced and Stanislaus are absolutely anemic. Even Madera, which is the heart of that, I wouldn't even say the Republican or conservative heart of it. It's pretty MAGA. That's the heart of that district. It's terrible. And, it's like at some point you want to say, I told you so, but again, it can be frustrating because sometimes you just don't want to be right, but there just seems there is a lot of complacency out there right now, and there's a lot of a feeling of like, what exactly am I voting for, Andrew?
And we're gonna keep going through the breaks here, Rich, because I want to talk about this larger issue. What do we do when Trump's not on the ballot? Okay,
yeah.
So we're gonna come back right with Rich. 1 second, I want to tell you about Tax Network USA. The government needs more money. And, of course, that means they need your money. If you owe the IRS back taxes, they can garnish your wages. levy your bank accounts. They can even seize your retirement or take your home. This is true. Don't let the IRS target you. Call the professionals at Tax Network USA. Their tax lawyers and enrolled agents are experts in powerful programs that may even help you eliminate your tax debt altogether. Tax Network USA is A+ rated. That's right, A+ rated, and have saved over $1 billion for their clients. Whether you owe a few thousand or a few million, I'm sure some of you are out there listening, that would be you. They can help. In just one call, you can start the process of stopping the threatening demand letters, stopping the collections, and resolving your tax matters once and for all, but you have to act now while you still have options. For a free consultation, call Tax Network USA or call them at 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com, tnusa.com. All right, welcome back. We're going to go through the breaks here with Rich Barris, the People's Pundit, also Big Data Poll. So, Rich, one of the things that we've kind of, probably stressed out a lot about over here, and we devoted a lot of our time at Turning Point Action to getting out that low prop voter in this era of Trump. Because Trump has remade the electorate in so many ways. What do we do? Is it just a presidential election cycle that we seem to be so anemic about this turnout, or is it Trump directly? Like, meaning, are we going to see a reversal in 2028? Is that just the way we're kind of geared on this side now?
The truth is we don't know the answer to that, and that is why after the 2024 election, what I really tried to convey, Andrew, was that these voters that you guys were in, and it was really Donald Trump being at the top of the ticket provided a unique opportunity to help other groups get these voters to the polls, because all of the research that we did clearly did say Donald Trump. If I'm going to go for anybody, it's going to be Donald Trump. So the number one goal the Republican Party should have had was courting these voters. And I guess we're going to answer your question over the next couple of years. I mean, you had to convince these voters that the Republican Party was becoming more like Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was not going to revert back to the old Republican Party because they have no loyalties to the Republican Party. It's just the truth. And a lot of people resisted this. Just when you look at New Jersey, for instance, and I'm not here to criticize, I'm just flatly saying what happened. There were a lot of the minds around the president saying, you know what, we're concerned that if you go there, you're going to drive up Democratic turnout. Andrew, that presents a fundamental misunderstanding of the realignment. Democrats are now the party of higher propensity turnout, educated voters, more educated, or as Charlie used to say, credentialed. Don't say educated, Rich, they're credentialed, right? And that's true. But Republicans don't seem to get this. If you're still saying things like, I think it's dangerous to send Donald Trump to New Jersey because you could increase Democratic turnout, you don't understand the Republican coalition, like fundamentally, period. I mean, we're 10 years into this movement now, and there are still some people who don't know this. Donald Trump has to be, and I'm sad to say this, but Donald Trump has to be present like he was in 2018 to make sure that people get out to the polls who vote for him and are not sold on the Republican Party. And I know that's an unfair thing to ask him, but it's just the state of the party. I mean, Republicans aren't ready yet. They're not ready yet.
I think, yeah. And that's sad. I mean, especially in a place like New Jersey where, I think Trump could have a major impact. He's not been present. All right, we're going to welcome back National Radio in just 3 seconds. Hang tight. Oh, what? Oh, we got 2 minutes still. Okay, on that point.
Nice.
Yeah, these clocks are wild over here, Rich. It's especially when we blow the brakes. Jack, you got the next cue.
Yeah, Rich, I mean, this is something where, and I'm just going to say it, right? One of the differences between Virginia and New Jersey still has these blue-collar Democrats. You have a lot of the ethnic whites, Italian, Irish, Polish. They will cross over to vote for Donald Trump. Virginia, the Democrats are the white-collar federal workers. They're the ones supporting Jay Jones and the No Kings protests.
Yeah, I see, Jack, because you get the realignment, you know that. So I get these people who say, but Virginia, in New Jersey, they voted pretty close on the presidential level. And that's every time you recite an election that was a year ago or 2 years ago, you're missing the moment, all right? Like trends continue, Jack. They don't just stop and freeze in time, and things don't occur in a vacuum where you
And they don't
reach
stop at
out.
borders like Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Unbelievably not. Right. This is the tri-state area we're talking about.
this-
You know this.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, Rich. Yeah, we're going to be welcoming back radio unless I'm screwing up the clock again, but I think I got it. So welcome back National Radio in 5 seconds. More with Rich Barris. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We have a fascinating conversation going on with Rich Barris about the, if I had to sum it up, it's basically that these trends, and we talked a lot about this, Rich, where you would look in 2024, where you would look at different trends from like Wisconsin and you would apply it to this state because they kind of the trends follow in this realignment period that we're all living through. Jack was asking you about New Jersey to PA to.
Well, it's like, so, and just as a guy from PA, I saw this shift in Pennsylvania, and then you go over to New Jersey and you realize that, okay, sure, right, North Jersey, you're going to have more Giants fans, we're not going to be rooting for the same teams necessarily, but on a political level, these are the type of people, you got a lot of families, they join the police force, they join the fire department, they've got nice civic associations. It just reminds me a lot of Pennsylvania when I'm there, in a way that Northern Virginia just does not. It's white collar. Obviously,
Yes.
You have a lot of Mamdani style immigrants that are living in Northern Virginia right now. It's a totally different dynamic. But so these trends that we saw across, and by the way, the deindustrialization trends that we saw across Pennsylvania have also affected New Jersey. And so that's why the same economic and political trends will affect the same area. So that gives Trump a bucket gives Trump and Chitterelli buckets to be able to dig into on the Democrat side that you just don't have in Virginia.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. You look at a place like Bucks County, and I'll get even more specific. Buckingham, you have lower one. You
Bucks
have
County,
two.
which flipped.
Yeah, which flipped at the same time that Morris County, New Jersey flipped. Why? Because everybody knows that Bucks County, especially that part of Bucks County that I just cited, is home to like a ton of these professional class, even from the pharmaceutical sector, a ton of these professional classers, but it's their ancestral ethnic Catholics, right? And they're Poles, they're Italians, and Donald Trump was doing extremely well with them. And Morris County, and there was even a clip on Fox News in a diner in Marlboro, which is also very similar, that had been trending Democratic for a little bit, but then swung back because of Donald Trump. Because of Donald Trump in 24, bringing them back, and also those lower prop voters who are even educated. I mean, this is pretty. It's not as simple as some people try to really drum it down to. It's a little bit more complicated, but you can use this area. They call it the tri-state area for a reason. So you can use these different demographics to I wouldn't say superimpose. You can't just like a one-for-one superimpose job on them. But of course, if you see Hispanics in the boroughs or in certain areas of Pennsylvania, which was a huge story in 2024, when you see them shifting to Donald Trump, working class Hispanics, even then starting to trickle into Puerto Rican communities. If you see them see that occurring in southeastern Pennsylvania, then of course you're going to see it in Gloucestershire, in New Jersey, right? We're talking about very similar areas with very similar communities, demographics, value systems, and more importantly, ancestry, their background, their voting histories, their beliefs. So I just think there's a lot of stale, old thinking on the right. And, I've been myself doing a little thinking and coming to the conclusion that this, after 10 years of the MAGA movement, none of what we're saying right now should be a shock to anybody. And I'm stunned that it still is. I really am. When I have people who are not nobodies, folks, tell me, stop criticizing Donald Trump not showing up in New Jersey because we didn't want it to hurt, we didn't want it to boost Democratic turnout and hurt Republican turnout. I'm thinking, what on earth are you doing in this position? Because you don't understand what has been happening in this country in the last 10 years. You have zero clue. All right, so I meant to actually send you guys a chart. It would have been perfect for the show. But these voters, we've been comparing with Republican identification. If you are a first-time Republican or a Trump voter, really, Republicans don't have first-time voters. Trump has first-time voters. MAGA has first-time voters. America First has first-time voters. Republicans don't have first-time voters.
Rich, just before we hit the break, we are going to be doing the super stream tonight. I know you're in high demand, but we'd love to get you on. We'd love to get that chart up.
I will definitely come on by, Jack. I think this is so critical and
Let's
so
do
important.
It. And we have to be on because people don't realize that Rich and I are wearing the same shirt today.
Get out of here!
It's literally the same exact shirt.
That is the same shirt, 100%.
Yeah, it's the same shirt.
Yeah, listen, hopefully it's not like Democrat blue. Hopefully it's like
it's purple, like New Jersey.
It's more like
Rich,
it's more like a bluish purple.
Rich,
you know?
so this is my glass half full take on everything. I believe that Republican voters, because just the huge amount of attention from a media perspective, cultural perspective on presidential races, that you do tend to even if we're the low prop party now, we're gonna narrow that gap, that turnout gap for presidential, whether it's JD or whoever in 2028. And I will say this, glass half full, we're playing on their turf. New Jersey, Virginia, New York City. Right. These are areas that we don't dominate. We have to be honest about that. And the fact that we have them on their heels and we're playing offense, I still am going to take that as positive. Now we're not done, but it is what it is. Rich Barris, we'll see you tonight, my friend.
All the best. Take care, guys.
Jim Jordan's up next. Don't go anywhere. The government needs more money. Your